A record-breaking 1960s diesel locomotive.
As long as that stays like that, we're in the pound seat.
Can specialist hauliers transport this legendary engine to a heritage railway? In time for a grand gala.
Oh yes, I remember this road.
It just keeps getting steeper.
The team must battle treacherous traffic,
Go back.
busy market towns,
You're going to have to get out your van.
and the tightest of turns
Ball lock.
to deliver this era-defining locomotive on time.
Okay, you can do what you want for a little bit.
It's a titanic task, even for the world's toughest train truckers. The Class 55 Deltic, named after its two revolutionary English electric Deltic turbocharged engine. Introduced in 1961, they were Britain's move to modernise the railways out of the steam era.
22 of the Deltic class actually replaced 55 of the famous A4 Pacifics like Mallard, plus the A3s like Flying Scotsman. They were a massive improvement to the service.
Producing 3,300 horsepower, the Deltic was the most powerful diesel in the world.
Deltic was the first 100-mile-an-hour diesel locomotive in the United Kingdom. It's not uncommon for some of the drivers to push them a little bit further. I think the biggest thing was really that they improved the journey time between London and Edinburgh by round about 4 hours.
After 20 years loyal service, this Concorde of the railways was overtaken by the faster Intercity 125. A group of fans formed the Deltic Preservation Society to save as many Deltics as they could from the scrapyard.
They're very special because it's a small fleet and they were such a prestigious locomotive. And of course they were always popular with the enthusiasts to an enormous degree.
Right, here we are in the driving cab. Put the driver's key in. Cut the in off and move it into engine only. I've got two brakes here. That's the air pipe, that's the vacuum system. Get your brake test, apply the brake, put into running. Your chamber pipe in your brake pipe will come up. So you're ready to go, you've got enough air pressure. You move your reverser into forward, put your power angle into on. Once the amps start to rise, you steadily apply power, do it gradually, and it will pick up its feet, start to move, and away you go.
For the last 3 months, this engine, named Royal Highland Fusilier, has been wowing crowds at Great Central Railway. But now it's due at Ecclesbourne Valley Railway for a diesel gala.
The Ecclesbourne Valley Railway runs from the main line at Duffield up to the market town of Wirksworth. It was built for moving stone, but then it also ran passenger trains, and now, after the line closed in the 90s, it was converted into a heritage railway.
A Deltic has never been on the Ecclesbourne Valley Railway before, so we're all expecting a very, very good turnout.
Royal Highland Fusilier weighs nearly 100 tonnes and is over 21 metres long, twice the length of a double-decker bus. Transporting this engine 36 miles northwest to Ecclesbourne Valley Railway will take extreme engineering and planning. 60 miles south, near Birmingham, family-run firm Allaley's
Allaley's Heavy Haulage
are experts in the challenging task of moving heavyweight locomotives. Founded in the 1950s by Maurice Allaley, the business has grown to become one of the trusted names in the heavy haulage industry.
We can move anything.
Massive abnormal loads, enormous steel girders, mega yachts, and super long lengths of pipe, as well as locomotives of all shapes and sizes, are all in a day's work for this team.
Moving trains is a very specialist industry, and we're one of the few companies within the UK that can actually move these big trains and locomotives.
Nobody expects to see a loco on the back of a lorry. There's never a day when you see it where it's not impressive.
Transporting this historic engine will be a challenging feat of engineering. The team must choose the meatiest truck, the toughest trailer, and a skilled crew to get this job done. A police escort is due to meet the team tomorrow at 9 a.m. sharp. So the engine must be loaded and secured tonight. The first of the team on site is Dave. With 17 years' experience, he's in charge of building the loading ramp.
I'm here to put the ramps down to load a Deltic locomotive. It's 4 sections. They slot together.
Dave must assemble the ramp sections one by one. The ramp has rails on top that rise to reach the height of the trailer that will transport the train.
You have to have them lined up straight. The locomotives tend to kick the ramps out to make their own straight line if you're not careful, so you have to make sure they line up.
Dave uses a remote control to steer a crane on the rear of his truck to lift the steel ramp sections into place. As he lowers each section down, he must line up the locating pins with their corresponding holes in the adjoining section of the ramp. Once aligned, the weight of the ramp section holds the structure firmly in place. Ensuring the rails are straight and at the right height is a precision task.
The rail that the loco will run up, which is this piece of rail on top of the ramps, lines up nicely with the actual rail underneath. So that's generally a pretty good guide that the ramps are set up straight.
To transfer the locomotive from Dave's ramp onto the trailer requires a seamless rail connection between the two platforms. To bridge the foot-long gap, the crew must insert 2 short pieces of steel called jump rails. However, if trailer and ramp are not aligned precisely, the jump rails won't be straight, and the locomotive could derail. With the ramp in place, Dave packs out the gaps.
Although they're solid steel, the rails can bend under the weight of the locomotive, so we pack out underneath so they don't bend, so that it's a solid structure. It wouldn't be safe without it being packed out.
Dave, we've got some miles yet.
Are you on the line at that, are you, mate? Just going straight back, yeah?
With perfect timing, lead driver Zach arrives with the rest of the team. He's been transporting heavy loads for 16 years.
Every day's a school day.
He's moved over 1,000 trains, but every move is different.
Anyone who calls themselves an expert's a liar.
Assisting him is trainee Harry, who has been working at the company for just a year.
You bring your big foot backwards then.
Newbie Harry will be Zach's eyes and ears when he's manoeuvring the trailer.
How much is a fairway?
About 15 foot yet, mate.
First job, precision park the trailer so that it lines up with the ramp.
I want you to leave me about a foot off the cups to start with, because we've got to drop all the axles out.
Keep coming back and touch more.
Next, use the truck's hydraulic system to adjust the height of the trailer so it forms a completely smooth loading slope.
Winning.
We'll lower the trailer down, get all the axles down, and then get quite a good angle on the trailer to sort of match the angle of the ramp. So when you see it, the front will look quite high and the back will be quite low.
Adjusting the height of the 23-metre trailer is a skill Zach is training Harry to perfect.
Open your 3 levers again.
You've got to turn it back over to the right a touch.
Shut the front tap.
It's vital that Harry gets the positioning right.
If you don't lift the front of the trailer high enough and get the angle as close to the ramp as you can, when the loco is like half on the trailer and half on the ramp, because the diesel tanks are quite low on it, you could create almost like a step, so that's where you could potentially have a problem.
The trailer is finally adjusted. They can now attach the winch to the engine and begin loading.
Obviously there's quite a gradient on them, so there's quite a lot of force on the winch cable. Very worst case scenario, the winch cable could break, but we don't envisage anything going wrong, hopefully.
But it's not the strength of the cable that's a problem, it's the length. Zach's winch cable is just too short.
Is that 4?
There's no way it's going to reach the engine. In Leicestershire, the team is gearing up to load a mighty 100-ton Deltic locomotive, Royal Highland Fusilier, onto a trailer, ready for a 36-mile move to Ecclesbourne Valley Railway. But they've hit a glitch. The winch cable that will pull the Deltic onto the trailer doesn't reach the engine.
Is that 4?
It's time to improvise.
I can't quite reach it where it is, so we'll just put a chain in just to get it up to the ramp.
Zach hooks a long chain to the winch cable to extend it.
Hold it there.
Once the locomotive is close enough, they can unhook the chain and attach the winch cable to begin to load.
Yeah, all going to plan. It's doing what it's meant to be doing. Where the flange the rails on the inside of the channel. As long as that stays like that, we're in the pound seat.
Inch by inch, the Deltic creeps up the rails. All eyes are on the wheels to make sure they don't slip off the ramp.
Okay, Dave.
Ever so slowly, it approaches the jump rails that bridge the gap to the trailer. This is the final and most crucial test of the ramp's alignment. Success. Royal Highland Fusilier has made it safely onto the trailer.
Hold it.
But there's another problem.
No, we've just got to move it a little bit more. I'm just deciding which way to go.
The long length of the locomotive makes it a very tight fit on the trailer.
Hold it there.
And lead driver Zach is worried.
Dave, I'm just going to move forward a little bit more, okay? I'm going to have to go off. See those there, look? That's right. They're cut out for the steering rods, look. Because the steering geometry, if you got quite a lot of lock on, the steering rods would come into here. So I can't sort of be over that.
The trailer has 13 axles with a total of 104 wheels. The axles at each end can rotate through the greatest arc. The 50-degree steer allows the extreme load to make tight turns. But the locomotive is so long, its front wheels block the hydraulic steering rod from moving, leaving the trailer unable to turn. This risks damaging the trailer, or worse, the driver failing to make the tightest corners en route. With the delivery due tomorrow, Zach has to find a solution tonight.
Dave, we've got to go off, okay? Yeah, we're going that way.
Zach decides to let the engine roll back a little on the winch. The margins for maneuver are just inches. And the engine now sits perilously close to the back of the trailer.
Hold it. A little bit more. Coming off a bit more, Dave. Hold it.
Are you happy at that then, huh?
I think so.
The steering mechanism is now free to move safely.
Okay, Dave, chock in tight.
But the engine's new position has given Zach a brand new headache. They need to attach 16 10-ton chains to anchor the huge Deltic to the trailer. But the engine's new position means it no longer lines up with the right anchoring points on the trailer.
If I can, I like to get 16 on. Obviously, you can only deal with what you've got in front of you, so you're just trying to do the best that you can. Yeah, so that there and this here, they're the speedos. They're what make it quite awkward now to chain, because straight away you've lost that one. You may get away with that one, but probably not. So yeah, it becomes quite awkward quite quickly.
Zach must improvise and create some new anchor points on the trailer to ensure all 16 chains can secure the locomotive without damaging its frame.
I need an eye bolt out. Yeah, you'll see, it's up there. If you have a clamber on off.
Adding a heavy-duty screw called an eye bolt gives Zach the additional anchorage he needs to attach the final chains.
It wouldn't be possible for it to move. You know, we could literally be doing 30. I won't be going at anything much over 30, but at 30 you could do an emergency stop.
It may only be a 36-mile trip, but it's a tricky route. For now, the team needs rest, ready for an early start in the morning. Day 2, 7:30 a.m. Time to begin the heavyweight haul to Derbyshire. Dave's first to leave the yard. He'll scope out any problems en route. Zach checks the engine is still secure, while Harry fuels up. They leave on time. An hour from now, they must rendezvous with the police escort, who will guide the convoy through the trickiest part of the route.
All right, mate.
Yeah, right, straight over that, mate.
There are several possible routes between Great Central Railway and Ecclesbourne Valley Railway, which would take about an hour by car. However, weight restrictions and a tricky turn into the Heritage Railway means a longer journey time along a safer route. Just out of the railway yard, the convoy must make a tight left turn. Zach will need Harry's help.
After that insignia, Harriet, if you burn past, mate, please.
Harry's job is to get ahead and make it safe for Zach and the other road users.
So go left, and then after the green triangle, block the road off, yeah?
Now he's ahead, Harry can give Zach a clear path.
Right, your last car is a Nissan, it's black.
Has it gone, has it, mate? Because I didn't see it.
Yeah, there's no cars at the lights now, mate.
Suddenly, a van coming the other way fails to stop, making Zach's tight left even harder.
Go back. Go back.
One hurdle down, their next challenge is low bridges. So before they go any further, Zach must stop to double-check his load height on the road.
Going to come to a stop for a minute, okay?
Yeah, not a problem at all.
The combined height of the train and the trailer mustn't exceed 5 meters, as the lowest bridge en route has a clearance of 5 meters and 2 centimeters.
Just a smidge down.
They must lower the trailer to provide a safety margin that Zach is happy with.
Just this side. Okay. Is there anything coming up?
It won't be now.
Height sorted, the team are still in good time to meet with the police escort.
You all right, Bob? Where else would you rather be on a Tuesday morning?
Yeah, I know. I've got a lovely view of this back end, I do.
Unfortunately, Zach's moment of calm is broken by a call from the police.
How you doing? All right?
They're worried that the designated route takes them right through the centre of a busy city.
Have you been told to go that way, or is there any reason why you can't go straight down the A50, Duncan Ford, up the A38?
Well, that's just what my special order is, so I can't really go any other way, can I, if that's the route? I mean, there's probably a structure as to why I can't go that way.
Potentially we'll change it. See you there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, mate. I'll see you in a bit.
Cheers, buddy. Bye.
Ta-ra, by the way.
The police are concerned because the planned route passes through the centre of Derby. So they're proposing a detour that snakes south of the city, then turns north to rejoin the original route. But last-minute route changes carry risks. Unexpected weight restrictions or low bridges could stop them in their tracks.
It's the train coming through, yeah. It's a Deltic that's being delivered today.
The train trucking crew is en route to Ecclesbourne Valley Railway with a priceless historic diesel locomotive.
Where else would you rather be on a Tuesday morning?
Their police escort is proposing to change the pre-agreed routing so the convoy avoids the city of Derby.
Is there any reason why you can't go straight down the A50, Duncan Ford, up the A38?
That's just what my special order is.
Last-minute route changes with a load this big and heavy can lead to serious issues with structures like bridges. So Zach calls the office to get advice.
Hello. Morning, mate. You all right?
Yeah, you?
Yeah, good, thank you. I've got a question. I've just had the copper on the phone, but he's just said to me, he said, why are you going through Derby? And I said, well, because that's my route. And he said, yeah, but why can't we go across the 50 and go up the A38 and meet the A6 that way? And I said, well, I'll be honest, mate. I said, I don't do the routes. I said, but obviously that's what my route says I've got to do. I said, I'd imagine there's a structure. He said, all right, well, I'll see you at past. He said, but in the meantime, I'll speak to our abloads officer. If I can change it, I don't really want to go. So,
I mean, if he's happy to take you down the A50 and go up to 38, then that's fine. But usually there's a reason. But I'll ask the question, mate.
Okay.
It would be a lot easier.
Yeah. All right, mate.
So give us 5. I'll ask Amy and I'll get back to you, right?
Yeah.
The route is still up in the air, but they are already at the police rendezvous point.
How's things? All right?
Yes, good, mate. Good. We're just mulling over the route there to make it easier for you. Particular reason why they've said
it will be structures.
Yeah.
It will be. I don't know where they put the restrictions in, but they have put restrictions. Okay.
Ready when you are.
Okay, pal.
Finally, they agree that changing the route at this late stage is just too risky, even if it does mean going through a city centre with a blue light escort.
Go on, copper.
There's nothing about now, there, is there?
Oh no, they know the score, don't they?
Thanks to the police, the traffic stress eases up, but rain soon forces them to be extra vigilant.
And isn't this weather absolutely stunning?
It's all right if you're a duck.
Or a fish.
The satellite's coming up in a minute, mate. We'll be going left, and then it'll start getting slow then.
Well, we haven't been going slow from the start, have we?
Well, it's been slow-ish, but it's going to get slower.
Right, okay.
There's still 17 miles to go. It's pouring down, and they're about to go through the city.
Oh yes, I remember this road.
It's a bit of a slow burner, it just keeps getting steeper.
Yeah, it's the rest of the road which just gets tighter and hilly, and yeah, it's just lovely.
Out of the city, the roads start to get narrower. Time for less chat and full concentration.
Plenty of room on this truck, mate.
Okay, mate, his back end's just stuck out a little bit.
As the Deltic crawls up the Wirksworth Road, it actually traces a parallel route with its new home, Ecclesbourne Valley Railway. This 9-mile private rail line, like so many other branch lines, was closed to passengers by Dr. Beeching in the mid-20th century. It continued hauling limestone and lead from Wirksworth quarries until closing in 1989. After decaying for 22 years, it was reopened privately in 2011 and has grown into a thriving heritage railway. It has 5 stations and runs historic passenger trains, attracting visitors from far and wide. The latest addition to the collection, Royal Highland Fusilier, is now only a few miles away.
Hello, mate.
Hello, young David.
How are you progressing?
I am literally going over the first of the 3 bridges.
In fact, Dave has already arrived at the railway yard with the unloading ramp.
What's it like for parked cars, Dave?
There's one car that's going to be awkward that's been there for 2 days and it's basically ignored any cones and all that. It'll be ½ inch to spare either side if you're lucky.
The town centre near the railway is crammed with traffic. News of the badly parked cars is a major blow. But there's little Zach and Harry can do apart from press on.
Is that all right through there then, Bob?
Yeah.
With the police up ahead, warning traffic,
Bits of the train coming through, yeah. It's a Deltic that's being delivered today.
Zach carefully snakes the huge 1960s locomotive past the historic Georgian buildings.
All right, mate.
Hi, Dave, I'm in town now, okay?
The gates are open anyhow.
Okay, see you in a minute.
Zach makes it through town, but ahead, as Dave warned, parked cars make the narrow approach to the railway even tighter.
You're going to have to get out your van in a second, mate, and watch. You'll probably be steering as well.
Okay, not a problem.
Dave squeezed the support truck through, but this gap looks impossibly tight for Zach and the Deltic on its trailer. Just 200 metres from their destination and they're in a tight spot. Local drivers usually park on the curb as it's a notorious pinch point. But the owner of this black car hasn't, bringing Zach and the Deltic to a halt.
Yeah, I'll come out. Everyone else puts it up the curb, and there's always one, isn't there?
The gap is almost impassable, and the car's driver is nowhere to be found. Harry must use the trailer's remote control rear wheels to ease it through the narrow space.
I've just released the trailer brake a little bit. Will it allow you to put some steering on to the left?
Okay, I'm going to creep forward then.
Every inch counts.
Keep it going.
As Zach creeps the truck forward, Harry steers the trailer past the car on the right. Police officer provides an extra pair of eyes on their blind side.
Are we all right down the left-hand side? Because I can't see the left-hand side at all on the front corner.
Yeah, I've got a cop on the other side, he's fine, so keep going.
After a tense 15 minutes, Zach and his team clear the pinch point and slowly make headway again.
Where I am now, Harry, there's a flat bit in the curb. I'm going to try and go around it because you'll just end up scrubbing a wheel to go up the flat bit.
They close in on the railway's narrow entrance. It's the final challenge of the journey, and it's also the toughest. Access into the railway depot is so tight that Zach must first pull into a yard opposite. There, he can swing the trailer back across the split junction into the narrow entrance. If his reversing turn isn't totally spot on, he could hit the high curb and trigger disaster. Just as Zach turns into the opposite yard, he meets with a nasty surprise. A red trailer blocks his room for maneuver. This is space that he badly needs to make the tricky reversing turn across the junction.
We've just got to see what we can do about that trailer because it's in the way.
Heavy haulage driver Zach and escort driver Harry are transporting a huge Class 55 Deltic locomotive from Leicestershire to Ecclesbourne Valley Railway in Derbyshire to be the star attraction at their Grand Diesel Gala.
You're going to have to get out your van in a second, mate. Watch, you'll probably be steering as well.
The crew have now arrived at the railway and are pulling into the yard opposite, ready to reverse. But they've run into a major obstacle.
Just got to see what we can do about that trailer because it's in the way.
This parked trailer blocks the space where Zach needs to position his truck, so he can swing his trailer back across the junction.
Look, my right-hand side, there's a trailer. Look, that trailer's hard in the way.
Yeah, I did think that.
Zach wants to swing the back of the trailer around to the left, so he needs to push the cab out to the right. But he can't do that without colliding with the red trailer.
Just going to come and have a look at something, mate. What's round there on this side? You've got a wall.
Zach's only option is to take a straighter line back and drive as close as he can to the shrubs and gatepost on his left.
Well, I'm happy there to come backwards, okay? I don't mind if you put a little bit of lock on for a minute, but I don't want you putting a lot on because you'll force my front away into that trailer.
Zach's hoping there'll still be room to make a very sharp right turn once he's reversed clear of the red trailer. But a parked car also blocks Zach's way, and he can only come back 4 more feet before hitting it.
Do you want this course moving?
The courser, they don't know whose it is.
With the trailer blocking the turning circle at the front of the cab, and the car blocking his turning circle at the rear of the trailer, the team are in a very tight spot.
At what point do you need to start going round so that you'll miss the car and miss the curb?
Probably need to put like full lock on now.
Full lock?
Yes, because I'm rather close to this car.
Yeah, but you just said 4 foot.
Yes, but I'm still going to clip the front of the car if I put the lock on, and probably clip the curb to be fair.
Right. Start. I need to keep coming backwards. Right. Just start putting your lock on then, but see what happens.
With Harry applying a full lock turn at the back of the trailer, the Deltic soon overhangs the red car.
Okay, keep yourself as close as you can to that curb without touching it, okay?
At the front, just a few more inches and Zach can start his turn. He's clear of the trailer and in the nick of time throws the cab as hard as he can to the right. The trailer just makes it past the nose of the red car. But Zach's turned so sharply, the trailer is now at a very tight angle to the truck, and Dave's concerned.
if this arrow passes this arrow, it can snap this is called the header, and it can snap or damage that because of the angle it's being forced in at.
Ever so slowly, Zach inches back to straighten up the angle of the trailer. Until the trailer and truck become safely aligned.
Okay, if you can keep the back closer to the weeds on the left, mate, that would help me, please.
Now clear of the red car and trailer, Zach can pull forward to straighten up before finally backing into the yard.
And then when you get a block the road, keep it close off the curb on the right up front.
He just has to negotiate the high curb.
If you need to move cones down behind you, do it.
And a row of parked cars.
Okay, you can do what you want a little bit with the back out.
But the worst is over. Royal Highland Fusilier arrives without a scratch.
You're not on the rail on yet, are you?
Literally just coming up to it as you said that.
The whole team can breathe a huge sigh of relief.
There were a couple of cars that nobody could find out who owned them. They made it particularly difficult. We've managed it in the end after a lot of to-in and fro-in. It's in. Now we start the process of building the ramps and getting it offloaded. Woo! Look, you're in the summer look.
The team begin their final task, rebuilding the ramp to unload.
See that bit of packing behind you? The leg's not marker of any sort.
Neil Ferguson Lee from Ecclesbourne Valley Railway watches every move. He's been a huge fan of Deltic locomotives since he was a child.
I remember seeing this on holiday in Berwick-on-Tweed in about 1974, and to watch one of these go through the station at top speed was a joy to behold. They are magnificent engines. It's absolutely wonderful to see that we've now got our very first Deltic visit Wirksworth station. They're kind of regarded as the Formula One cars of railway operation.
Delivering iconic engines like this calls for the utmost care, but the depot's uneven ground makes building the offloading ramp particularly problematic.
I don't think you're going to get another board in, Harry, because the ground's up in the middle, so just leave it on the floor. Bring it back one then.
It's time-consuming, but nothing can be rushed.
Obviously, still watching the same things that the flange of the wheel picks up on the ramp, and then the same again when it drops off the end of our ramp back onto the rail on the floor. You're still watching the same things. It's very, very much the same, just obviously in reverse.
With the ramp build secure, it's time to offload the engine. As they winch the Deltic down the trailer, all eyes are on the engine's wheels. 100 tons of locomotive crawls over the jump rails onto the ramp.
Okay, Dave.
Ever so slowly, the team ease the Deltic down the tracks. The slightest wrong move could topple this Goliath.
Has it stayed where it's meant to? Mine moved a little bit.
Finally, the last wheels drop into place.
You're welcome.
Clear to move back?
Yes, mate, yeah, all yours.
The Deltic is delivered, ready for the upcoming Gala. As it's shunted to its new home, the team are already thinking of their next job.
Off to the next destination, further north in Derbyshire.
It's Diesel Gala Day at Ecclesbourne Valley Railway and the station debut of Royal Highland Fusilier.
Good morning, ladies.
4,000 visitors are expected this weekend to admire a selection of historic diesel locomotives. Thousands more are due over the next 3 months to take in the sights and atmosphere of this unique 16-mile round trip.
I go all over the country to different galas when I can. I'm an enthusiast. I'm a proper railway enthusiast. It's as simple as that. I did my apprenticeship on the railway. I left in my early 20s, went on to other things, but it was there. It was in my blood.
I think I'm going on a railway with 3 trains, and I think it's going to be really fun.
Gets into your blood and you just love it. There's no rationale to it. It just happens.
There's a huge variety of iconic diesel locomotives on display. But the star of the show is Royal Highland Fusilier, a legendary Class 55 Deltic diesel engine, fresh from its journey from Leicestershire.
It's wonderful to see it actually performing. And as far as I know, this is the first time there's been one here. I'm like a little boy again now, all sort of bubbly.
Welcoming the Deltic to a railway they've put so much work into is a real highlight for the volunteer workers.
It's such a crowd pleaser. People love them. You can't help but marvel at the scale of not only the locos, but the fact it's got 2 separate engines and the history of those locomotives and what they did during their working lives. They're just, impressive bits of kit.
Hearing the locomotive's twin engines roar along the railway for the first time is a dream come true for train fans of all ages. But volunteer Ben has an even bigger treat in store. He gets to ride in the cab.
Crossing's manned. I can see it's got people on it.
We're dropping the loco off.
Over the crossing with the coaches up to but not blocking the crossing.
The biggest challenges of driving the Deltics is just reining them in, really. They were designed to do 100 miles an hour down the main line, and of course we're capped at 25 here, so they're just always trying to pull away.
There we go.
It's escapism as much as anything else from the daily 9 to 5 when you're up in control of a locomotive. You're just purely focused on that. It's a great experience. No 2 locos are the same. They've all got their own characteristics and traits, but they're all just great fun to drive. A real privilege.
It's been quite a gala for Royal Highland Fusilier, and railway boss Neil is delighted with how its debut has gone.
It's almost unbelievable to see this thing coming down the line, and people have been so receptive to it. Yeah, it's a real success. We hope to have it back.
It's a true labour of love. Without our volunteers, we just can't do what we're doing, so it's absolutely marvellous.
As a successful gala draws to a close, Neil treats himself to a last ride of the day.
We're back with the Train Chuckers when yesterday's new and exclusive series continues next Thursday evening at 9. And catch up on all episodes so far with UK TV Play. Next here, though, the episode that launched 1,000 bids. It's the first ever Bangers and Cash.